Good evening. How are you this evening? Well, I'm doing a sit and talk because I've been so busy with my cases. I couldn't get out until it was dark, and there's no reason to listen to gravel shuffle under my feet and hear my voice in the wind that blows. So I'm doing a sit and talk this time, and the questions that I have to do with nothing less than our republic, nothing less than our democracy, and nothing less than preserving and protecting us from autocracy. The January 6th Committee is in a special place. It has collected a variety of information and has frankly been ahead of law enforcement agencies, including the so-called Department of Justice, which has not been very just in the sense of a speedy prosecution or preserving and protecting our Constitution against those who would challenge it, including the former President Trump and his collection of seditious conspirators. And so the question now is, what is going to be their final recommendation? And I don't see it as a final recommendation when I talk about referral. And I think it's critical that they do it. It's like someone had a home invasion and you survived that home invasion. What do? You call law enforcement, you call the gendarmes, you call somebody to make these people who invaded your home make an accounting of what they did. Well, that's nothing compared to what Trump did. Trump orchestrated a very complicated conspiracy over months when he knew he was going to lose, and after he did lose, to try to overthrow our government to make him president for the election that he lost, to have him replace Biden, who rightfully won. And so the House, which is the people's house, because it is the most democratic of our three branches of government, it is the House where we send people after voting on them. And they go and they serve either in individual districts across America or in the Senate. And these people do the business of the government and have done it for hundreds of years and with the benefit of a constitution that sets forth what they're supposed to do. We've been continuously perfecting that constitution. And so here we have the stewards of the people's house under siege by the intolerables who think that they can just get what they want. They want Trump to be president. They want it to be an autocracy. They want to push out of the way all the tendencies by which we participate as equal to each other and equal under the law. So their referral is like a scream, a primordial scream against the misconduct of people in this nation who would overthrow our government for this worthless, egomaniacal president who is now out of office, and we have to see that he stays out of office, but we also have to see that he makes an accounting. I hope we won't see charges of such things as these people, Trump and others, interfered with the progress of Congress. That's not what we're interested in. That can be one of the charges. But the real charge is seditious conspiracy, just as it was for one of the intolerables on the street who aided in this effort from the street. Now we should be going into the West Wing. We should be going into the House. We should be going into those people outside the government who financed it or spoke for it or allied themselves with it. That's right, Giuliani and Bannon and Eastman, all these people, Meadows. But we have to get the head of the snake. That's critical. You've heard me criticize what justice has failed to do, which is to wake up, smell the roses, and do something. They gave us lip service, and we talked against that. They subpoenaed some people. We said we want more. The January 6th Committee educated the nation, if it needed it, as to what exactly had gone wrong and how the evidence pointed out what had gone wrong. That is to say, how our safety and security of our Constitution had been breached. So we're in a different world than when we first started this. But even now, we have to, by repetition and by pressure, make sure that the Justice Department and others finally do their job and force an accounting of Trump and his evil partners in this affair. It's hard to imagine that we're still at this point. So hopefully they will make that referral and it will go forward. Now I want to say, since I've been critical, that there's one thing that I find particularly encouraging today. And it's, I hope, part of the new administration of Special Counsel Jack Smith. He has subpoenaed the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Now, you may remember that he was in a conversation with Trump on tape in which Trump said, find me the votes. And he wanted all the votes that Biden had gotten plus one vote. Talk about the chutzpah of this guy, that he would say, I want all his votes and just one more to just drive it home that I won illegally just by asking for it. Of course, he didn't say all that in the tape, but that is a fair conclusion of it. I just want you to do me a favor. That conversation, it reminds us, it evokes what happened with Ukraine. Just do me a favor. And then Trump saying to Yeltsin, to the head of Ukraine, I want you to go out and I want you, Zelensky, to investigate the son of the president-to-be, of Biden, when Biden was the likely opponent. So we have these parallels. And so I'm encouraged by the request. I hope what he does with it. Now, why is this important? Because it's not the papers in Florida, and it's not something in D.C. It's part of the whole conspiracy in which he reached out for Georgia. He, the president, then President Trump, reached out for Georgia and asked them basically to commit a crime and to falsify the records of an election that he lost. That's what's key. Now, some will say, oh, Trump is losing his power and so on and so forth. This is an excuse to do nothing. And if you wanted an example of what we can expect from the next Congress and what the Republicans continue to think about this, consider Representative Green, who had a weekend rally by the young Republicans, went out and said, if Bannon and I had done this and we would have brought guns, there would have been a different outcome. And everybody laughed and thought that was great. And the president of the Young Republicans also said that we should get ready for fight. We should go out and get ready to do things. And the president of the Young Republicans said, and fight in the streets. This is a very dangerous thing. This is what we've seen before, dictatorships and other nation states before. And this is what we risk when we don't use the law we have and the tools we have to punish those who would violate our Constitution, who would try to overthrow our government, and now would try to cause even more violence than they did on January the 6th. It's not acceptable. So I think that the mostly good news is that the January 6th committee is going to point out the worst offenders, and hopefully as many as possible, identify the circumstances of the crime and identify the crimes that they think apply. And it can't be some nondescript crime that avoids talking about what really happened. We have to talk to the truth. Truth is power. It is our defense against this kind of fascist reproach to our democracy. So that's what we have to work on. So I want to thank you for putting up with me not walking on the street in the night. And I hope to look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I'm in court tomorrow. I don't know when I get out, but if I can't get out on the road, I'll try to get to a sit or stand and talk. All the best. Bye-bye.